Okay, all you devils, happy Friday. Here we go. Well, here we have, of course, everybody's watching a new all-time high in Bitcoin as we sit here, 117. Just a tick or two off, well, a little bit off the high. I think we got 118. So what a great time to be a crypto trader and a Bitcoin hodler, right? Those of us that have just held on. Well, this is what you waited for. Now, to get a feel for this as to where we might be going, and you know, everybody, this is that moment in time where everybody thinks, God, I wish I had more. Where can I get some more? Well, it's never easy with Bitcoin. I mean, the safest answer is there's never a bad time to be buying Bitcoin, but we want to be a little more strategic with our TA if we can. Now, when we have something like this happen and we're moving into new price discovery, you know, how's the market going to accept it up here? I think always a good idea to pull back to the longer time frame, get some perspective. It's very, very easy to get caught up in every little swing and pivot, and you know, new push to a new high, new pivot swing. I think just to get a trade plan, always a good idea to step out to a longer time frame. Here I've got a weekly. I'm using the aggregator here, so I can't get any volume, but I can get the full history. So as we look here, there's some judgment calls you have to make here as an Elliottician. This has been discussed, and Jesus, we're going back to middle of 22 here. What's the right start here? And of course, as is always the case with technical analysis, and certainly with Elliott Wave, as the market reveals itself more and more, often you have to come back here and say, well, with this new development here, do I need to adjust my counts here? I think this is this is a valid count. It has some technical precision that leans me into it as my primary. You can see here, we got to be careful about just assuming, it's just, all up. There's an assumption that you would have to make here that is a little bit on the abnormal side. If indeed we've got a 4 and this is a floater, and that's a, Elliotticians are going to debate where the actual pivot is for a long time. I'm just working off of the lowest pivot here, right? What's the safe thing to do? Let's just take the lowest pivot down and go up, and we get a tick or two off the 50. So a reasonable, again, I'm floating this here because it could be interpreted a couple of different ways. So let's go. What would the algo do, right? It's going to go dominant to dominant. What's the lowest pivot in this range? What's the high? Well, here we have our break of structure. Now, okay, no, you get very excited. Oh, break of structure. Here we go. Of course, let's remember just the last time we had a break of structure was right here, right? So just go easy now. I'm not saying don't buy. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just be mindful of the market's tendency. There is no liquidity up here, right? Maybe there's new people shorting it here, but it can't go up here and refuel for the journey higher. Where does it have to get more fuel? Below, right? So just go easy on that assumption that I know this is where emotion can really take over. Yes, very encouraging, right? I'm thrilled. My book is off the charts, right? So I mean, it's a great time to be a Bitcoin holder. But before you scream into buy mode, let's be strategic about it. So as we sit here, one thing to note here: we came out of this long squeeze here. Now we're out of the squeeze as we're breaking into new highs, but it's of course pretty hard to miss the divergence here. The initial push here, of course, that's a bigger wave, but you can see literally the Elliott Wave Oscillator outlining the waves for you on the way up, right? So it was a very reasonable anticipation to think that, God, could we have put in a high here? I mean, if you're just looking at the technicals, right? You had all the ingredients for it. Came back here with long squeeze. It's it's hard to miss, right? We went through all of this, right? That's the squeeze down here. We go through all of that, and then now we pop. So I mean, again, great news. Now, as we look here, what's going to have to happen, right? If this is going to go into a 1-2 and we're going to get an extension in the third, well, of course, this is all going to have to lift. All right, if we're going to get a third, now again, I'm on a weekly. We go to a daily, it's going to look differently, but keep an eye, don't ignore the weekly. Keep an eye on it, right? Always have it somewhere in your watch list, somewhere where you can refer to it and say, am I getting too aggressive here? The other thing to note here is you look at this, you go, God, the 1 to the 3, God, if we're going to extend that far, look how tiny that 1 is. Yeah, I thought the same thing, right? So when in doubt, right, measure, right? It takes seconds to do, right? So if I grab that actual low here, and if I go to let's see if I can get it right on that. And pardon me, I had to go to the higher pivot. Get you right on it. I'm in log scale here. So here's a 2618. That's an extreme for a wave 3. Of course, it's not like they've never gone beyond that, but that at least we're in the technical ballpark here of where you might anticipate an extension relative to the wave 1, right? Which is, of course, something that an Elliottician is going to want to consider. What's the relationship 3 to 1, right? If we're that far, okay, maybe we want to consider the extension because we have a long 3 and a shorter 1. If we want to go from the start of 1 through the pivot of 3, right? It's not uncommon for an Elliottician to do that. And then look up here and say, oh, well, if we're going up for a third here and we're going to have a big extension, perhaps the third up here, you see a little bit of an overlap here because this would be very close to the 1618. Let me draw it here. If this is the 1 and this is the 2 and we're going for the 3, that would be technical precision here that, of course, algos would love, right? So that's now note where we are, right? I know it's a little bit of bull porn. That's 220, 223, in that range for Bitcoin, it wouldn't shock me at all. Now, right, we got... There's no reason to assume we're not going there. I mean, there's nothing that you're looking at here would say, well, we're definitely not going that high. The only thing that would have you pausing right here would be the divergence, right? So this wave, again, it's early in this move here, but if this wave here and now this wave here, it's going to have to really kick, right, to start leaning into, okay, I'm in my third, right, and not something else, perhaps the 1, right? Because if we're going to have a third, up at 220, we got to do it through an impulse, right? So let's go to the daily here and take a look. You'll note I have what do they call it? The adaptive trend finder, where it allows you to use a regression channel on log scale. So it's very useful, right? So I can see 2 standard deviations on either side, right? It's always just statistically a good measure to see, okay, well, are we in that range? Let's take this off here. So here's our proposed, right? Again, you pick your pivot, right? It almost doesn't matter, right? But I'm going to go off of the lowest here, as I just noted here. I'm going to go from the low to the high because that's what the algo will do, right? So if we get right on that, I get right on it. So up, down, a couple of ticks off of this. Note it's, the classic prior resistance becoming support as we ping and go. Let's get in there a little bit. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. This certainly looks like we've done some sort of a corrective action here. A, B, well, pardon me, it would have to be a WXY because we have to work backwards. So we have to go A, B, C. I have a daily next to this here. We'll look at that in a second. It's a little funky in here because at this distance it does look like a 5, but there's a little pullback in there that can get this into into an ABC. So we can go WXY, which I think is what we have here. Right, because we have to work backwards, and in that working backwards, as an Elliottician, that's often what you're doing. Okay, well, if I've got this ABC here, I got to work backwards from that. So thus X, W. All right, we started here. That looks like where we are for those of you playing the home game. Okay, we're gonna have a shallow 2 here. Again, it looks like it, right? Bitcoin is a bit notorious for tricky 2s, right, or very very shallow 2s. I mean, you just see it right here. Right here, is this your 2? This your 2? Where's your 2? Right? It tends, when it rolls, right? It tends to, we push, pause, push, pause, push, pause, push. Little correction. Now it's push, pause, push. It tends to be, well, that's how the markets move, right? That is price discovery, push, right? How we doing here? Everybody happy? Okay, can we go higher? Oh, price discovery. How we doing here? Everybody happy here? We find value. Oh, can we go higher? Right, that's all the market ever does, right? Is okay, we good here? Well, now here, this is new price discovery. How are we doing up here? Everybody happy here? Can we stabilize here, or do we have to come back down and grab some fuel? This is a tricky count. There's no question about it. The only thing we can really say definitively is that we can identify the correction. So if that's a 4, right? I mean, is it a 4 or is it a 2? It's a tough call. Does it matter, right? That's to some degree. You got to ask yourself that. Well, let's go over here to the count here where I have a little more detail on this. Now, I just happen to be on Bitstamp. Shame on me. I should be on Femex, but I have more history here, and for some reason I had it here when I started the video. Femex is our sponsor, right? All the trading we do is over on Femex here, but for charting, right, at least at Bitstamp here, I get full history. Now, I know that's a lot on here, so let me do them one at a time. So let me, oh shit, what do I want to do? Let's hide that. All right, so the one that we're looking at here right now, if indeed, God, that may be too much as well. That's a 4 hour. Let me get zoomed in a little bit over here. Okay, all right, so again, I know this is a shitload of stuff on here. It's always easier when it's yours, but let's get all these inversion gaps off of here. We can leave the volume profile up. Okay, so there we go. It would appear, right? This is. I've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. I've continued to struggle with the idea that this isn't a completed impulse and that this is disconnected, right? This is the correction. Let's see. I don't need to be in log scale here. This is a completed impulse. This is the correction, shallow as it may be. We do get to a little order block here, which you probably draw over right off of here. Oh, that's not demand here, but you get the idea. Oh, there we go. All right, so we got a little order block here. Up, we consolidate, push, come back to it. Now, you know, I mean, I'm a little surprised by this because that's so shallow, right? Again, Bitcoin is a bit notorious for this. It'll do this often, right? I think we barely got to 23, right? So we got to between the 23 and the 38, right? Okay, well, you know, right at the POC is what we're looking at here for visible range. Now, easy, that's visible range. Okay, it's logical. It makes sense, right? So then I go up here, and now I know, again, it's getting a little hard to see. I get something impulsive. I get a nice 3 to correct it, all right, where we essentially double. And we tag that 50, and we're between the 50 and the golden zone. So what do we get there? Let's take this one off, right? So I get a corner, right? It's not a golden corner, but I get a corner pocket, and this is just, you know, thank you, Alan Andrews. What that means is that I have 80% probability that we're going to get to that median line. Now, yesterday we looked at this and I was like, oh my God, were we going to miss, right? Sets up a move equal to or greater than. We didn't quite get there here. We got to the 618, to the negative 618. It's now go target. But then after we pulled back a little bit here, then the monster rip came, the big push. And what's interesting is it did that. Well, we did that a couple of times. First thing we did, we came up to the high and paused, right? Put in the double. So here's the push, the retrace. They're not quite ready for it. And then here's the blow, right? And where they just fucking rip the faces off of any shorts there. Massive liquidation, right? If you're a bull, you know, eat it, right? Is what you want. They can suck it, right? So, okay. Welcome to Bitcoin, right? If you were trying to short off of that. Bad idea. Okay, so we got a 1, 2. Now, trading principle number 3, if we're not going to pivot right on the median line, the market may pause there as it did just briefly. And then are we going back to the lower or the upper parallel of the median line? So we just blast right up, almost gets it to within a tick or two. We get the candidate here for a wave 3. So 1, 2, 3. And there's no question it's impulsive. We've gone past the 200% of that. If I pull that off in terms of the wave relationship of 1 to the 2, it's a little bumpy down here. It is interesting. We're right at, you know, what if you thought of it this way, right? All of that consolidation just happens to be the point of control. We sit right there, and then that's our launch point after this long. God, when did we put that in? May, right? This long. What are we doing? God, what are we doing? What are we doing? Right. So there we go. Not an easy place to add, right? No doubt about it, right? It's tricky that, you know, how do you see that coming? There was no real obvious catalyst to it. It just kind of happened, right? So what is your thought there? Well, who has the muscle to drive that? Excuse me. Well, that's going to be institutions, right? So, you know, I'm over here on CoinGlass again. This is free, right? I'm not even logged in here. So you can just come in. I do have an account here, but you can just take a look at the ETF buying. It's just massive, right? Only time we've been as high. Did we get that high? Higher. November. No, well, I think that's right after the election, right? So we have this, and then we're pushing that high. So this is the big boys, right? Are driving that. Now remember, where are they going to refuel? Not above. Right, so thus the idea of a retrace. Now I think we can, having made the point here with the median lines, right? So When it's there, draw them. Highest odds in trading. I've been saying that for 6 years. Least used technical tool. Crazy how that is. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now we can anticipate the 4. Now this is a common location for a 4. The initial range of the 1, 2 as we push past it. Okay, well let's consider. All right, if that's the 2, come here. If that's the 2 here, and I'm not saying the 3 is in, right? But we have this little pullback here. It's a candidate for that 3 to be in. I'm on a 4-hour here. So where might we go? Well, where's the highest probability location for a wave 4 between the 23 and the 38, which would be right coming back here to 114-ish. Now, a little pullback like that might be of interest, right, for an entry long here on the idea that if indeed, right, we're going impulsive, which would be very hard to argue against, you know, this is where you have to decide yourself based on, I don't know, 98 years of history. Does the market move in 5s and 3s? Does it? It's an open-ended question to you. If you don't think it does, why are you watching this video? If you do think it does, well, you know exactly what to anticipate, not what you know, but some sort of a retrace here, and we're going up for that 5, right? And that'll be our 3rd. Here's the high. Now, that's what I was forecasting earlier. If we have a 1 and a shallow 2 here, right? What do we have here? This would, I guess I got a little off there. Right? Even with the shallow 2, where's the highest probability location for that wave 3? 168, 172, which is up here at 122. Interesting, right? I mean, again, I'm not saying I know where it's going. I'm just saying, where does it usually go? Wouldn't that be a reasonable target? Are you going to say, well, I'm going to anticipate where it usually doesn't go? That's essentially what you're saying, right? If that's not one of your targets. It's the most common location for a wave 3. You're going to ignore that? Okay, do so at your own peril. Okay, 3, 4. Now, we don't have it yet, right? We're just sitting here. This could continue to extend. There's nothing that says market is never obligated to do anything ever. It's going to do what it's going to do. We're just trying to wrestle with it and see if we can identify some patterns. What does it typically do? Well, now, right now, we're in the second most common location for a wave 3. That could hold it back. Right, so let's see. Right, are we going to get the whole thing to complete up here and get that wave 3 right in that pocket? Well, what else do we have to work with? Well, now that I would leave this on here, but oh shit, come here. I would do it this way now, right? So I have the secondary channel here, and this is my preference, right? So I don't get confused. I try and match the color, whatever the degree I'm working with, to whatever channel I have, so I know where I am, what matches what. Oh shit, here I did it. That's the old one here. Well, that's all right. So this is the prior one. So we got 1, 2, 3. Now we're going with the new one. Here's the 4 going up for the 5. That's what we're targeting up here. And then I've got an algo target here. Should it come back here and hit any of those? Now remember, if we're talking about a wave 4, the algo is not involved there. I think I've got some, here we go. I've got some fair value gaps here as we launch, right? It's not surprising, right? Displacement, right? As shorts were getting obliterated. Okay, so we've left some big fair value gaps here, right? Some imbalances. The market may well seek to rebalance and pick up any orders that are unfilled there. What is that? That's fuel to go higher. Again, well, okay, well, if that's the 2 and that's the 3, where do the wave 4s usually go? We just did this, right? So just to remind you, here, right, if we be in this range, I got a fair value gap right at the 38. Right in the intersection of the prior 1-2 channel, fair value gap, little high volume node. I mean, lots of juice right there for that 114 as a potential push. My suggestion would be easy on the leverage. Right, this is where big dogs, right, are going to hunt for your Bitcoin, right? Don't give them an opportunity to take it. You go in with leverage, you just created that opportunity. Strongly advise against that, right? You don't want, if we're going here, you don't ever want to put yourself in a situation where someone or some institution, don't give it to BlackRock. Make them buy it. Okay, right, so that looks like, oh shit, it's 20 minutes on Bitcoin. Well, that's probably okay. All right, now let me pause here. I'm going to bring over something here. Hang on a sec. Okay, on the assumption that this is institutions, right, the banks, right, the hedge funds that are doing the buying here. Something you might consider here, and because we have there's so, I know people like to go to the altcoins, right, because of the percentage return, but institutions aren't trading the altcoins, right? They're well, I mean, I don't know even what the number is. It's just an insane number of cryptocurrencies we have now. But you want to be selective about it here. So I just a reasonable way to put a filter on it is say, okay, well, give me only those assets that trade at least $1 billion a day. Right. Okay. The 1 day trading volume's over $1 billion. Well, that's going to narrow the field down. You still end up with what I get 21 coins. Now, some of it are going to be stable coins, but still, I mean, there's your list that I would encourage you to work from, because institutions, they can't go into the little shit right down there. They completely blow up the market. They can't do it. They move the market too much. They've got to stay where there's liquidity. So as you look down here, okay, well, I got all the big players here, There are some meme coins in here. There's Pepe and fuck this one. I don't know where it came from. Pudgy Penguins. All of a sudden that's hot. Okay, great, right? I'm not saying you can't make money in meme coins, that there's got to be utility and a use case and everything else. I'm just saying, right? So if you want to trade in the meme coins, at least stay where institutions get in their place. So oh shit, do I have Doge in here? Yeah, I've got Doge in here. I've got Pepe. I honestly don't. I haven't even looked at Pudgy Penguins, although it's coming up in my. People are mentioning it a lot. Still, right? I mean, still Omni, still here. Hyperlane, Bedrock. Here's what I haven't even heard of: Athena. Big dogs, right? When the institutions are ripping, this is where they're going to go, right? Just a suggestion, right? I would check ETF inflows, right? Is that happening there? My strong suggestion would be to stay there. Okay, now with that established here, I'm going to pull that off for a second. Okay, no surprise, right? Number 2 behind Bitcoin, right, in the trading volume of $1 billion a day or higher. Ethereum is number 2. This has been one of the most difficult technical charts to trade. I mean, we've just been, well, it's hard to miss it, right? I mean, how do we not see this range we've been in, right? Of course, we all see it. This range we've been in. So it's a very difficult Elliott count. I've been back and forth on this. Triangle, maybe. It looks like we're going impulsive here. So if you're trying to squeeze a triangle in here, you got to be thinking A, B, C. This doesn't look like it's 3, D, E, and then we're going to go for the 5. That's kind of the thought process going into this, because we can look at this and say, if this is 1, 2, is that 3? Now you take, of course, it's going to look different at a log scale, right? 1, 2, is that 3? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2? Of course, the range, right, looks a lot wider when you take it out of log scale. Do we need to be in log scale? Well, if you're looking down here at 800 and we go to this range up here at 4, you got to at least look at it, right? Now, you have to look at it and ask yourself, can I read it more easily here or here? I mean, you got to kind of go back and forth, because this looks like such a shallow retrace. Oh, no, that can't be it, right? It can't be a 2. Oh, can't be a 4. Can it? Very tricky count, right? So this is where I'm a little bit more risk averse, because I don't have a clear feel for it. So if this is ABC into a Y here, and I'm going impulsive, which certainly looks like I'm on a 3-day here. Let's go to a daily. If this is 1, 2, is that 3? Seems like it might fit, right? I say 1, God, it's such a tiny little 1, 2, but then I need that. I need the 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Well, you'd have to do it here. You'd have to do a WXY to get that kick into the third. 1, 2, 3, WXY. It's tricky, right? So if I pull from the 2, all right, where'd I go? Right to 50, right? So there's a little liquidity grab into the imbalance, right? It's that's kind of a telltale for a good pivot. So you have those ingredients there, but you could just as easily look at this and go, okay, something got fucked up here, right? Maybe the 4 is over here, and we got the 5 here, and that's the 1, right? It's how are you going to tell? So 1, 2, right? So it would have to be down here. We make the 50. This is also one of those cases where what comes next will dictate how you're going to label this. This actually looks a little better, right? It looks more self-contained, which is always so important, as I harp on that all the time. All right, so we get this self-contained little channel here. Here's the break of the channel, right? I say this often, right? A lot of people, this is the only thing that they focus on when they're trading, right? Break of the channel, right? Per Al Brooks, right? Kind of the father of price action trading, right? Taught everybody this. Break of the channel is not the short. It's the setup for the push to a new high, right? Break the channel. This is what retail does. Retail sells it here, and then we go up for the new high. So at this point, would you want to buy it here? So you've got to pay attention. Okay, where are we in the scheme of where's going to be the resistance, right? So you can't forget. Come here. Oh, where's it go? Here. You can't forget, right? The algos are going to be there on both sides, right? So don't forget that Al will be there waiting. Get him right on that. Right, approaching the algo right there, right? So this is, I promise you, retail's going to buy right into that. They don't know it's there. Now, that doesn't mean it can't go higher, right? I'm never saying that. Right? You've got an algo right here, right? They all break, right? Everyone that succeeds means another one had to break, right? But you want to enter right there? I mean, if you know about this and you do take a screenshot of your chart here, put it into your trade journal, are you going to look back on that and say that was one of your better trading decisions? Well, you can say, well, based on the result, that's how I'll determine it. All right. So does that mean 10 out of 10 times you're going to say, fuck it, I'll sell it right into that golden zone? That's what you're saying, right? You're saying, I don't care about them. I don't care that that's there. I would caution against that. I'm not saying it's going to go up there and pivot. I'm saying that would be a reckless, foolish place to enter the market. I'll let you draw your own conclusions there as to whether or not that's something you want to do and build into your repertoire of trades. I like to buy right into resistance. Okay, all right, so there's ETH. I'm going to leave that alone for the time being until I get more data here. I've got some, but I'm not adding until I get more clarity, right? If this goes vertical, I'll look for, I'll look to drop the 2 here, and I'll look to get the 4 to the 5, and then the retrace on top of that. I'm not worried about missing it. I'm never worried about missing it. That's just me. Okay, hang on a second. Let me bring up a couple of those others and we'll wrap it up. Well, let's give XRP a visit here. I think I've mentioned this over the years, right? This is my second biggest holding beyond Bitcoin because I do think the use case here is going to eventually come. Again, right? It's not retail doing that. The count's also funky. I guess you're going to have to do it some sort of a WXYX, and then we get a nice little clean impulse here into a B, into a C, right? So the first WXY is much tinier than the second, but right, there we go. Right, there it is, right? So those of you, again, like Bitcoin hodlers, right, that held through all of this. When did we put that in? January. That held through all of this. Is that your reward? Well, it's not it's a little tricky in here. What are you going to do? 1, 2, 3, something like that, perhaps. Tough call down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Even that is a little 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It isn't quite. It's not quite right. This looks more like a 3. Makes it tricky. There's a couple of different things how that could play. You can't call it a triangle, but you could have a flat here and then go 1, 2, possible. So just to finish that up, let's go below here. Elliott oscillator. Oh, that's just a different version of it. This is somebody else's work from when I copy over. Doing the live streams. 1, 2, 1, 2. It looks like we're kicking pretty good there for a 3. Right? It's clearly let's go to daily. RSI is getting a little hot, right? So that's not necessarily bad news. Don't take that as bad news. Right? If you've got to get a little retrace, that's going to be your opportunity to enter. Obviously, we're going to have some fair value gaps here. We do not have a break of structure. Right? We got to take out that high, right? That might be ideally what you'd hope for, something like this. All right, we break structure, get back for a retrace here. Now the 1, 2, right, it's going to get, it's getting tricky. I considered, right, do we want to put the 1-2 here? It doesn't quite work as well because it's not as clean. You don't get an impulse there. It would have to be 1, 2, 3. It doesn't fly, right? It plays better as an A, B, C into an X. So I think the 1, 2, right? I completely appreciate this. This is very tricky to get a clean read on as to what you've got there. So whether you're going down to lower time frames or not, it doesn't really help much. Is this the 2? Right, when they're going like this, right, it makes that very, very challenging. It doesn't mean, right, oh shit, I can't trade it if I can't, nail down the 1, 2 precisely. But it just means, okay, right, as I often do. Whereas I think I will just say, okay, I got a problem spot down here. If I run into trouble in the count up here, I know where to come back to and say, do I need to revisit how this is unfolded here and how this is labeled, right, for potential wave relationships, et cetera. Right? So we can get into that. Right now, we've just gone vertical here. Now, the next thing, of course, right, pay attention to where the liquidity is, right? That's the next thing up. Right, sweep. Right, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them sweep that, then start the retrace, then go. Right, then you get your that would be the 3, 4, 5 here, and then okay, now we got something to work with, right? So now if that's 3, well, that's likely, well, of course, could be, right? It's likely not 5. If we're going to extend here, that's 1 of 5. Right, that's what a bull hopes for. We hope that's what we're seeing here, is that this is 1 and 5 is way, right? 10, 15 bucks. If, right? And who's driving this again? Not retail. Okay, so that's XRP. Okay, let me pause for 1 second. Just a couple of alts here. Well, the major alts we'll look at, and then I'll get out of here. Okay, we're going to look at XLM, SUI, and Solana. Okay, all right, so let's do XLM first. Also, XLM is on that $1 billion a day of trading volume. Where were they on that list? Shit, there are they? Oh, there they are. They're number 13, right? Remember, you got to take out a couple of the stable coins here. So, very, very high volume, and we've got a pretty good looking start to this. So it looks like we've got the 4s in, and we've gone 1, 2, and we're working on 3, 4, 5. Right now, what are we going to be completing here? Oh, what am I on here? I happen to be on Femex over here, right? So because I've got a clean 1, 2. Look, obviously there's my 3, right? I got a big 3 there. Here's the 4 coming back, right? We wick the 50. Interestingly, right? Things that you want to pay attention to. That's why I always wick off the 1s, right? Because as an Elliottician, I'm always paying attention to that. Things that don't happen by accident, right? I promise you that is not random. 1, 2. Oops, get you over here. Get the 2 up here. Looks like we're going for 3, 4, 5 of 1. Right, so don't feel like you're missing something. Now, again, you cannot, I'm just trying to help you here. You cannot forget who's there. Do you want to buy that there? I'm not saying it's not going to break. It's never what I'm saying. I'm just saying think about where you're entering the market. Right, because again, for everyone that succeeds, right, if this 50 is going to make it to the target up above, right? Well, I'll do it this way. Let me take this off just so we can get a clean target on it. If this 50 right here is going to get to this target, algo target, right? Because that's here's a dominant pivot, swing high, right? That's the algo. We don't have to wonder about it. If it's going to get there. Well, what is that? All right, we're close to $1, 38 cents now. I'm not saying it's not going to break. I'm just saying consider where you're entering. Right? If it's going to break, let it break. Because this, right, is it going to do, we're on a daily. Let's go to a 3. Well, we got to get that in. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, these are really, really, really big moves, right? So the shorts are just getting absolutely hammered here. Ha. All right. Oh, of little faith. All right. So long way to go. All right. We want to look for the subdivision here. So watch list. Maybe don't buy it right there. Okay. Let's bring this back. Let's do SUI, right? Also, here we have. Oh, this is a little tricky here. We do get a corner pocket, but you'll note here in this push down, it's all wick, right? So what are they doing here, right? That's liquidity. They're grabbing that liquidity grab here, and then we push up. How do we know that that's what happened? because look at the fair value gap that it left behind, right? We got a little imbalance there, right? So back, right? Oh, that went so fast. Right? Let's pick up some unfilled orders. Let's go to a 4-hour. See if that looks a little bit better. Whoops. You got an inverse down here. We've got multiple imbalances. Here's this one. Looks like they tapped that one. Right here. So how are you going to count that? Let's get this right on the edge. It does do that when you change time frames. This will move a little bit if you don't have it locked down. This one looks good. That one looks good. Okay, so we get our corner here. Wick goes down, takes care of some liquidity, and then we shoot back up. Now we maintain the corner pocket here, even though that's a little, okay, that's not ideally, right? It wouldn't break. But that's liquidity grab. I think that's a reasonable anticipation here. We have swept the 1, right? Eliminating any possibility this is anything but a 2. So we get a WXY into a 1, 2, 1, 2 is what that appears, at least to my eye. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 1, very shallow 2, and then another 1, 2, and we're going. Now, we know, right, thanks to Alan Andrews and many, well, he's doing his work in the 60s, so I don't know, 60 plus years of precedent, 80% probability we get to that median line, and there's the algo target sitting there. Now, there again, nothing says it's going to hit it right there at that time. It could be out here. Right? We don't know. We just know that the probability stays in place unless that pivot is broken. Right? And then that would set up trading principle number 4. Failure to make the median line sets up a move greater than or equal to the swing that failed to get there. So we're going to have to break structure. Right? This will be a break of structure per this. Right? So if we've gone 1, 2, 1, 2. We're trying to get an impulse here to complete. Looks like that's a good target up here at 540 for at least a partial. I'm not saying, well, it's up to you, right? I mean, where you anticipate that's going, right? The next target would be 1150. See, that's where, you got to think about yourself here. Oh, do I want to sell it all here? What would that be? Well, you can see the rationale, because what would that be? Break of structure. Right, we'd be breaking that structure there. Now, of course, markets can go a long way after a break of structure, but probability is there will need to be a refuel, which will be below the market. Right, so if we go up here, right, it's got to do it in an impulse. If this is a 2, right, we got to get an impulse to complete it, right? So I would keep an eye on this one here. Again, I'm going to say the same thing about all of these, just to remind you, don't forget Al is there. Now, looks like Al's right at the POC. Looks like we're trying to get through that here, which would be a very good sign, right? We'd kill the algo from this pivot. That will not be the only one to kill, but that's the one that we are most concerned with here as it relates to getting to that median line. We got to get, this has got to go up and close above, right? So we got to get up, and then maybe we come back and that would ideally what you'd hope, right? And then if we do get there, that's likely not 3. What is that going to be? That's going to be 1 of 3. Again, I don't have this. I'm just laying out a logical roadmap, right? If the Elliott's going to stay this consistent. Okay, that's SUI, right? I would certainly have a piece of that, right? If you don't already, look for that opportunity to see the little break here and maybe a retest. I'd look for that, right? I mean, that's wishful thinking. You're going to have to deal with whatever the price action offers to you. But right now, that looks like a reasonable path, right? And that would, again, will not be the 3. Okay, let's go over to Solana. Okay, we'll wrap up here. How am I doing? 38. Okay, that's decent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Absolutely zero possibility to misinterpret that. That's a 5 all day. 3. This gets a little tricky. It's kind of a force fit in there to try and get this into an ABC, try and get that into a C. It's not ideal, but there it is, right? And of course, you can see the perfect. We go from literally the 65 to the tick, right? Here's your algo target. Now, and same thing down here as we go from, well, let's see if I've got that on the right one. Yes, I do. All right, so if we go from dominant to dominant, we get wicks that go just a hair through the 65, right? And then rip, right? That's how you know it's an algo, right? And that's institution, right? We get wick, boom. Right, same thing here. You see it again, right? So why you want to look for these, right? There's a little imbalance along the way. Come back, fill that imbalance. The market goes up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, this is starting to look very triangle-like, so let's slow down there. So ideally, you're trying to find a way to make that a 4 because of that. It's not perfect. It's tricky because that could be wrong here. It's certainly to your eye looks like a candidate for an impulse, but that's not a 3. So you might have to back off of that idea. It looks more like an 8. Oh Jesus, that is tricky there. Hang on a second. Let's get you out of there. Looks like you're going to have to do this as a 1, 2, A, B, C. This is some sort of a chop, and then I get my push down here, which you just logically you can kind of see what happened here. This was swept to get that into a 1. Then here's an ABC into a 2. Let me get some of this out of here. Can we make that fly? Right, that's the bitch of it. We might be able to. Okay, so let's see here. I'm doing this on the fly. Well, that's how you learn. Okay, so we might be able to make this work. Let's just check a couple of things here. 1, 2. Okay, so let's consider this. Now I don't know. I guess sometimes you just got to lay them out there. Let's see if I can make that fly. Let's go. Let's go up to 1 here, and let's go to white. All right, now the triangle may indeed work here, even though that's a bit of a stretch on the first one. You're going to have to do a little bit of an Elliott shuffle here to get that to play ball. So, but the terminus of the E here doesn't overlap the 1. So you've got a candidate here, and we're going up to is that the 5 in? Tricky, right? Again, just a reminder, Elliott Wave's not perfect, right? Nothing is perfect in the market. My opinion, right? Probably no surprise, right? In terms of market structure analysis and patterns that we know are prone to repeat because we got 96 years of precedent. It's a way to do some forecasting of what the market is likely to do, right? So it's not trying to predict the market, but it's saying if this happens, then this is a very real possibility, and if not that, then this, and if not this, then that. That's what Elliott Wave gives you. Now, this is not an ideal scenario here, but right, if we pop and we top here, and next question is, why are we stopping there, right? It's always the question you got to ask yourself. If it's stopping, why? Why would we run out of buyers? What's the next thing you want to do? Get you right on there. All right, okay, good, encouraging sign, right? Now, they haven't swept the liquidity here. They haven't ticked it. That's Fibonacci, right? So we're on the exchange. They haven't quite ticked it yet. Let's come here. All right, get all of that. So you're at, right? I mean, here's essentially, if we round it, 70% of the price action here. We're going up here, right? We're going to establish new market acceptance up here. Well, I'd be very mindful of this resistance up here. You see, if you're looking for the opportunity to get into Solana, that's not necessarily bad news. You want it to pull back. Yes, please pull back. Now, I don't love this impulse getting off of here, but that's what I have. We don't get to pick them, right? It's what the market shows us. Impulse? Well, certainly this is an impulse, right? We can all, I think we can, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can all agree we have an impulse here. This one's a little trickier. Take it down to a 10, 5 minute. You probably can get that a bit cleaner. This is interesting that the potential for here does not stays to a tick, right? And then we get the kick. So good candidate for a 1. I would not be disappointed if I take all this off. Let's get all this off here. If we had a retrace, because where would we be looking to get in, right? If that's going to hold, and I'm not saying it is, but if it does hold and we get a pullback here to the POC, somewhere in this range, well, that would be, if we do it in a 3, somewhere around here, go, 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 right? Because if this is, oh, here, hang on a second. All right, if this is the 1, this is the 2, well, this is going to be the 1 of the 3. Let's pull back here so I can get this. Right, off the low here of the 4. Well, there's the 1 of the 5, the 2 of the 5, the 1 of the 3 of the 5. Maybe that makes more sense if I pull back a little further. 3, 4. What are we trying to do here? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, will that be the 5? Will that be the top, or will that be the 1 of the 5? Well, we got to go back to the daily then. Let's go to the daily. Geez, I got to. Well, let's go to log scale here. I think I had somebody else's work. I did, right? So somebody. This is again because I do the live streams and I copy over their data, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. We got a big 5th to come. Why would you assume anything else? All right, we can get all this out of here. Why would you assume anything else, right? There's no reason to. This is played spectacular. Oh, shit. Hope I got to do it again. This is played really beautiful Elliott ball here. Let me get you out of there. What are we looking for? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're at 850 in Solana. Where are we now? Where are we now? 164. No reason to assume that that's not what's going to come. Right look? Absolutely. Good technical, good Elliott on the way up? Absolute spectacular. Technical pivots? Absolutely. Holding the geometry? Yes. Market structure? Good. Right? Institutions buying? Absolutely. We have a new ETF. I mean, every ingredient is here for this to go. Why would you not want to play in here? And I don't mean, when I say play, I don't mean to use that term loosely. I mean, why would you not want to get involved here? It's a genuine question, right? You got to answer that yourself. Okay, guys. Oh, shit. I went 47. Okay, that's too long. All right, I'll wrap it up, guys. Thanks to all of you who, bear with me through all of my ramblings. And hopefully you pick up some ideas here, some things to get your watch list, things to be mindful of. Don't forget that algo is on the other side as well. Okay, right? Great time to be a crypto trader. Really is. Right? So enjoy the ride. Let's hope you're all long and strong, and we'll catch you next week.